Turn to the chair of the Rail Subcommittee, the gentleman from Pennsylvania, Mr. Shuster.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, good to see you again. I'm going to abbreviate my typical speech that I give on this issue. Mr. Szabo sitting behind there smiling. I think he could probably recite it verbatim. But I appreciate having this hearing, and I agree with the chairman and many other members. The President's vision of high-speed rail in this country, I just don't believe it's going to happen because we don't have the money. Number two, I don't really think we have the need to have 80% of the American population have access to high-speed rail. I do believe there are corridors in this country that can not only need high-speed rail, but we should be focused on them. We should be absolutely focused, and we're not in this present form that we're taking. We're spreading money all over the country. It's no surprise that Ohio and Wisconsin have turned down these large sums of money because they realize they're going to be strapped with operating costs that are going to drive them further into debt. I really believe if we focus on the one true high-speed rail corridor that we have today that desperately needs it is the Northeast Corridor. We own the tracks, so we don't have to go round and round with our friends in the freight rails on it. We own the tracks. We can do separations where we need it. And as my friend from New Jersey mentioned, there's a bridge up there. It's a huge bottleneck. We should focus the money there. The tunnel in Baltimore, I know some of the money is coming back to make those improvements. But if we're really serious about getting high-speed rail, we need to find one place to do it in the country, to do it right, spend the money to do it right, learn from it, the lessons, and then take it to these other corridors that will emerge in the future. The California corridor, the money being spent there, the more I see of it, and you see the numbers, they've gone from $40 billion to $100 billion to maybe 20 years to who knows. And Mr. Secretary, you've been in Congress, you've been in government long enough to know that if they're saying $100 or $90 billion, you know it's going to be more than that. And in California, I've been to Southern California, and they're telling me that between $1 billion and $1.5 billion, you could truly have significant impact on intercity rail transportation between San Diego and Los Angeles. That's where we ought to start in California. The northern city of San Francisco and that corridor and Southern California. So again, I urge you to go back and sit down with the President and Mr. Szabo and really reevaluate what we're doing here, because I just don't believe that we're going to be able to have high-speed rail across this country because we can't afford it and because the American people really aren't clamoring for that. They are clamoring, though, to have better intercity rail, higher speeds. Keystone Corridor, great example. It's not high speed, but the ridership has gone up 40% over the last 4 or 5 years, and it continues to grow, Harrisburg to Philadelphia, and that is not high-speed rail, but it is higher speed, more frequency. Those are the things that I think will benefit the traveling public in America if we focus on those areas. So, again, appreciate you being here today. Look forward to your testimony, and I yield back. Ms. Richardson?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. And Mr. Secretary, let me start off by saying you looked quite dashing last night.
Thank you.
3 quick questions for you and 1 comment to my colleagues. First of all, I just want to remind everyone that all roads to glory always lead west. So we appreciate your efforts, and I thank Ms. Edwards for at least allowing California to stay on the map.
Well, generally to yield, did you mean western Pennsylvania?
No, sir. I meant the real west where the gold was found and the shores of California. But my 3 questions are very brief. First of all, sir, my question is, I know Mr. Denham, I had an opportunity to participate in a hearing with Transportation with Mr. Mica, and initially in our proposal in California, it started off that the segment would be in the Central Valley. There's obviously been multiple discussions, and it's my understanding that any future proposals have to include the Central Valley. Are you still, committed that it has to be the Central Valley, or is there openness to other potential routes?
It's the Central Valley, and again, this is not stuff we make up. We go to the stakeholders that have been involved in these projects for 15 years, and we take our cues from them. But we also have made investments in, we made a $450 million investment in Trans Bay. That's not in the Central Valley, by the way. It's at the other end. It's at the start. So the idea that this is kind of a dead-end thing in California is not accurate. We made a $500 million investment in Trans-Bay, which is in San Francisco, in downtown San Francisco, which is one of the demarcation points for the high-speed rail. Everything's not in the Central Valley, but we're in the Central Valley. We've made a commitment there. That's where people want us to be, and so until somebody tells us differently or they have a different plan, that's where we're going to be.
Okay. I just wanted to clarify. My other two questions were not related, but I think very important and timely. If we have a CR, one of the things I found with the airports